Hello, come on in. It's the ninth day of Christmas, and today we're going to look at more tips how to have a safe virtual holiday season. We've got Christmas coming up, maybe other holidays depending on where you live in the world and your religion, and then New Year's. So it's a time of risk for everybody because we are in a pandemic. What's a pandemic? Well, a pandemic is an epidemic that covers the entire world. What's an epidemic? An epidemic is an outbreak of a serious disease in many areas, but not everywhere. So the whole world is affected by this. So if you like this content, then click the like button and stay for the video. 9 tips. Number 1, don't travel. Like I just said, the whole world is affected by this, and that means when you travel, you increase your chance of getting sick. COVID-19 coronavirus is a very serious disease, and we're going to look at some death rates in a minute. This is the season to stay home. This is the season to enjoy your own place. You can have a good holiday without traveling. And by traveling, you increase your risk to yourself, and you increase the risk to your community and your family and your colleagues when you come back to your home environment. If it's not allowed, tip number 2, if it's not allowed in your area, don't gather. Like here, there's one minor exception. Other than that, we're not allowed to gather. And so in our family, we decided we're not going to gather. We're still going to Zoom. And we're going to Zoom with my brother in Poland and my sister in the US and nieces and nephews across North America. So one of the benefits of each of us staying home and not gathering physically in one place is that we can have this Zoom that includes everybody. But the other benefit is that we're going to keep ourselves safe so that we have many more holidays together. So follow the recommendations of your public health authorities, and if they say don't gather, because you increase the risk of getting the illness. Even if you say, well, you know, my brother, all he does is go to work and go home. My kids are in school, but you know, they're young. Yeah, but you're increasing the risk for other people. The workplace is a source of transmission. Schools are a source of transmission. So you increase the chance that people in your family get it and that people in your community get it. So don't let emotion cloud your judgment. Tip number 3, look at the bigger picture. Look at how just one little action of having a gathering could actually mean people you love get sick, maybe die, and people in your community get sick. And so you increase the caseload, you increase the chance that more people get very sick, more people have long-term consequences, or more people die. So step back, look at the bigger picture, and follow your public health recommendations and stay safe. So get creative. Tip number 4, about ways to connect. I mean, we have technology on our side. So we are really lucky. We've got video chat, we've got online games, and we've got photo sharing. There's so many ways that we can connect with each other and still have a lot of fun together and still have a holiday season together without, this is a blog, without risking ourselves and risking the health of others. So for example, if your family lives close, one thing you could do, this is tip number 5, is you could each make a piece of the meal, make enough for the entire family, portion it out, and then on Christmas Day, deliver it to each of the other family members. And then you could sit together and eat the same meal that was prepared by all your family members, but each in your own home, and you video chat while you eat. So that's one thing you can do. If your family doesn't live close enough, then you can make your own meal at home, and then you can send pictures to your family, and then you can video chat while you eat. So that's another way to celebrate if your family isn't close. And like I said before, with video chat, you can involve everybody you want, and you can all stay home safe and yet still have a nice holiday together and keep that connection alive. So let's look at some numbers. This is tip number 8. So far, as of today, December 21st, there were 282,842 confirmed cases. What's a confirmed case? It means that there was a positive COVID test. However, A study done in New York City in May, based on antibodies in people's blood, found that the actual number of people that had antibodies in their blood, which means they had had COVID, was 10 times that. So you add 10 to that, and now you're looking at 772,828,420 cases. Almost 780 million. That's a lot. That's why this is called a pandemic. So why would there be more cases than actual tests? Well, one thing is not everybody has symptoms, or their symptoms are mild and they just think they have a cold or something minor. Not everybody goes for a test for whatever reason. Maybe it's cost, maybe it's they're afraid of, being put on a leave from their job and they can't afford it. Maybe it's just that getting testing is just so difficult. Whatever the reasons, this is, we're having a lot more COVID cases than the data actually shows. Also, the CDC has been looking at death rates, and they compared death rates from previous years to death rates for this year. And this data is from December 16th, 2020 for the US of A. And they say the death rates so far this year are 10 to 15% higher than in previous years. And the majority of that, they say, is COVID or COVID-related complications. So that's a significant increase in the death rate, 10 to 15%, right? So this is not a minor disease. This is not something to just kind of, well, I'm not going to get it. Now let's look at ages. So 18 to 44, the average, this is based on Worldometer. The average death rate is 4%. People 45 to 64, the average death rate is 22.5%. People 65 to 74, the average death rate is 25%, and people 75 plus, the average death rate is 50%. So people over 75, they're making up 50% of the confirmed deaths. However, look at that death rate for 45 to 64, 22.5%. That's high. And 4% for 18 to 44. If you compare that to what's the average death rate for flu, these are still really high numbers. So it's something serious, something to take seriously. Tip number 9, we have health workers out there that have been working through this pandemic since the beginning, almost a year depending on where you live. They're putting their health at risk, they're putting their lives at risk to take care of us. They're putting the health and the lives of their family at risk, or they don't go home to their family, they live apart from their family during this time and they don't see their family. They're making a significant sacrifice to help us no matter why we're ill. The health system. When the health system gets overwhelmed with COVID cases, what happens is all the other people that need treatment, cancer, diabetes, heart attack, surgeries, whatever it is, they get slowed down, they get postponed, either because there's not enough staff, there's not enough beds, there's not enough equipment, the resources just aren't there. So even if you don't get COVID, just the fact that people are getting COVID and overwhelming the health system means that people who don't have COVID still suffer the consequences. And diagnostic testing is slowed down, so people may actually get sicker or possibly die from another disease because they weren't able to get the treatment they needed in time. Also, the third thing that can happen, which is really sad, and everybody hates this situation, especially doctors, is if there isn't enough equipment or beds for the COVID patients, and they have to start deciding, you don't get it, you're over 75, you're 35, you get the ventilator, you don't. You get the chance to live, you don't. Nobody wants to make this decision, especially doctors. But when the healthcare system gets overwhelmed, this is what happens. This is what they have to do. Do you want to be the child of a parent who died of COVID and they were refused treatment or enough treatment because it just wasn't there? You'll never know if they would have died anyway. But the fact is, they might not have died and they couldn't get the treatment they needed. So, I mean, this affects everybody. This is really serious. So please, don't be selfish. Don't show a lack of consideration for other people. Don't be inconsiderate. Don't be irresponsible. And respect the healthcare workers and everything they're doing for us. So, big shout out to the healthcare workers, all of them. Big shout out to the frontline workers, whether it's a grocery store or a delivery driver, whoever you are. Big shout out. Thank you so much. Please, everybody, follow the recommendations of your public health authorities. Stay home, stay safe. Don't get the virus. Don't spread the virus. Let's help this pandemic end so we can get back to normal. I hope you found something of value in there. I hope those tips kind of gave you some food for thought. And I really appreciate you watching. If you like this content, click the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Click the bell so that you know every time I'm going to upload. Every time I have uploaded. Oh, my bells are stuck. Oh no, here we go. And happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I hope to see you in the video tomorrow. Bye.